Welcome back to the Unathletic, everyone. When we were last with you, we were talking about all things March Madness and how everyone is crying over their brackets because everything is just, it's gone to crap, I should say, because of all the upsets going on. And a team, want to talk about an equivalent to what should be a number one seeded team, Manchester United in the Premier League. Some people had them winning it all this year in the Premier League, albeit they'll probably finish in second place. But they went crashing out of the Champions League this weekend. Contrary to what both of us were predicting, we thought that they would go through against, albeit a good Spanish side in Sevilla. But Sevilla went to Manchester and beat Manchester United 2-1 in the second leg of this Champions League draw. So Nate, what I want to ask you is, because we both thought that Man U would win this game, what went wrong for them?
Well, last week I was on here talking about how poor Jose Mourinho's tactics were and they're playing this crap defensive football, and I got really upset talking about it. And once again, that is what did Man United in the second leg against Sevilla at Old Trafford. Again, defensive football, and it came back to bite them once again. You know how many shots Manchester United had over the two legs? They had 4 shots on goal. You're going to tell me that a team with Lukaku and Paul Pogba and Alexis Sanchez and Marcus Rashford, Jesse Lingard, and Martial, you're going to tell me that they had 4 shots on goal over 2 legs against Sevilla, a good Sevilla side, but actually Sevilla lost this past weekend, so now they're 6th in La Liga.
Yeah, they lost to Legantes or some relegation La Liga side.
This is not as good as the Sevilla sides that won 3 straight Europa Leagues. They are a middle of the pack La Liga side. Manchester United, for a second place team in the Premier League, should be beating them. But yeah, with all that money, they could not beat Sevilla, and there are some very big problems in Manchester right now.
Yeah, and I think we've said similar things about PSG and that money can't buy the Champions League.
Yeah.
It can for sure buy the Premier League. We've seen that with Manchester City this season, albeit Pep Guardiola is a fantastic coach.
Yeah. You can have the players, but you also got to have the right guy leading. You could say look at Man United. I think that if you look at Man United's team, their team is talented enough to win the Premier League, but Manchester City is the one leading it, and I think a lot of that has to do with the genius of Pep Guardiola versus the stubbornness of Jose Mourinho.
Not only stubbornnness of Jose Mourinho, but literally he's losing his mind. Lock him up, put him in a crazy house. Because Nate, can you just recap this past week? What has Jose Mourinho done to warrant being labeled as literally a lunatic?
Well, after they lost to Sevilla in the Champions League, he in his post-match interview, he said, I've been on the sidelines with Porto and I've been on the sidelines with Real Madrid and seen Manchester United lose in the round of 16 in the Champions League, so this really isn't a big deal, and blah, 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 excuses. And then on Friday, I believe it was Friday, he went on a 12-minute rant where he was talking about, he was throwing his players under the bus. He was blaming everyone except himself. He went on his 5-minute rant about Manchester City.
He literally did a ride the bus segment about his entire team.
Yeah, and started talking about Manchester City, talking about players like Kevin De Bruyne. Well, fun fact, when Jose Mourinho was the manager at Chelsea, he sold Kevin De Bruyne because he didn't think that Kevin De Bruyne was good enough to play in the Premier League. He also sold Mo Salah because he didn't think Mo Salah was good enough to play in the Premier League. He started talking about, I could be in another league with a championship, with a title already wrapped up. He's just, I don't even know what he's talking about at this point. He's just saying things now for the sake of saying things. He's deflecting. It is just classic Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, definitely deflecting, and there was really no coherent order or sense to any of the stuff that he was really talking about. So Nate, it's our job as hosts of a sports podcast to try to just decipher what he's trying to say. So what does all of this even mean? That's kind of the question we have to ask, because we don't even, it's hard enough to even know what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I think he's just deflecting. Jose Mourinho has a history of doing that. It's all about deflecting, especially when his teams are playing poorly. And right now, Manchester United is not playing well, so he's just deflecting, because now we're talking about this instead of talking about the fact that Manchester United just crashed out of the Champions League. And yes, they did win their FA Cup match against Brighton over the weekend, but they're not playing very good football right now. And again, you see, we're talking about this now instead of talking about the fact that United is not playing well, and that's because of Jose Mourinho's his craziness.
Yeah, definitely. And so, Nate, I want to ask, if you were a player such as Paul Pogba, right now. Like, how awkward would it be for you to play for a guy who literally just put his entire team under the bus? I think with the exception of, it was Lukaku, Matic, and De Gea were the 3 players that Jose Mourinho said are like the good ones. Everyone else, he had everyone else ride the bus. That was a big bus.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, if I'm Paul Pogba, if I'm Alexis Sanchez, I'm like, why did this guy, like, why would I want to play for this guy? This guy who, I mean, Jose Mourinho brought in Paul Pogba. He brought in Alexis Sanchez. These were the guys that he wanted, and now he's throwing them under the bus. And it's very, very strange to me that that he's doing this to guys that he brought in. And if I was one of those players, I wouldn't want to play for him. I would not want to play for him, because why would I want to play for a guy who is not putting me in a position to succeed, and then when I don't succeed is publicly criticizing me? Like, I wouldn't want to play for him.
Definitely.
And I am a coach. I coach junior varsity basketball.
Woo!
And that is obviously not the same thing as coaching
Manchester United.
Manchester United. But I'm of the opinion that if you have something to say to a player, if a player's not performing, then I think you need to talk to them privately, or maybe you talk to them in front of the team. But you don't go out and put them on blast in front of everybody. That's just my opinion. Now, that being said, I do coach like 15-year-old boys and not grown men. So that's neither
here nor there, as you like to say.
I do want to give a shout out to the guys on the basketball team that I coach, because they all do listen to the show.
Hey, there you go. Well, one day you're on JV basketball at Parker. Next, who knows? We'll be on Manchester United.
Yeah.
And just know that Nate Wiggins is a better players manager than the manager of Manchester United.
I should be managing Manchester United.
Yeah, I
could have them at the top of the Premier League.
Oh my gosh, goodness gracious. That's kind of like, this is an unrelated note. I feel like literally that's how the problems at Arsenal would be solved. Literally just put any other warm body there.
Like you want to go manage Arsenal?
Yeah, honestly, Arsenal, I'm putting myself out there. I will coach the team. Stan Kroenke. You're probably in America because you're sure as hell not watching Arsenal. Just hire me. I honestly would do a lot better of a job, as humble as that is. Getting back on track here, though. We came all the way around there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Jose Mourinho just got a contract extension a few months ago. And so I want to know, even though he has this contract extension, do you think he's going to get sacked soon? Because this is obviously horrible press for the team. A team with... Jose Mourinho was talking a lot about heritage in his press conferences, and how Manchester United doesn't have heritage. I heavily disagree with that. Like, I think they are arguably the most historic football club, like in
one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Entire world. So you're talking about how they don't have heritage, but like, honestly, like with a club with this kind of heritage, this kind of bad press is not good for your club's reputation. So do you think that he is going to get sacked anytime soon if he keeps up this behavior?
I don't see him getting sacked anytime soon, even if United doesn't win a trophy this year, because given all of this craziness and the things that he's saying, he does have them in second place, and they are going to finish top 4 for only the second time since Sir Alex, one of the greatest football managers of all time, retired. And so last year they were 6th. Now they're in second, and he could say, well, look, I've made improvements. Last year we had to win the Europa League to qualify for the Champions League. Now we're going to qualify for the Champions League by finishing top 4. So no, I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. And I'm sorry to United fans, you're going to have to watch that crap football for at least another season.
Definitely. You wish everyone's football that they play could be as entertaining as a team like Liverpool, who destroyed Watford. I don't think we're going to go over that in that segment, but let's just acknowledge that game first of all.
Yeah, Mo Salah, we are not worthy.
Yeah, definitely. And even Firmino's goal was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
The backheel flick volley.
Tremendous, yeah.
All goals scored by them were tremendous.
Beautiful.
But getting back to Manchester United, the FA Cup is the only thing that they have left to play for for this calendar year, and so that is potentially only one trophy, and there's still good competition left in that tournament. Chelsea and Tottenham, and
Spurs are going to be playing at home since the semifinal and the final are at Wembley. So
yeah,
I personally think Tottenham is the favorites going into that competition. I think that this is finally the year, for the first time in I think a decade, that Tottenham will win a trophy.
Wow, yeah, that would be real big for Tottenham fans, and they would finally put an actual trophy in their trophy case instead of putting the pressure on Huddersfield Town or whatever else they have in there. But my question to you is, Nate, like, what should Manchester United's expectations be moving forward after this? Like, it could be the rest of the season, it could be next couple years. Like, what are their expectations?
Well, we actually spoke to our in-house United correspondent, my roommate, Manchester United fan, Vince Chatteravian, about this, and we asked him, would you consider this season a successful season for Manchester United? And he said that, talking about moving from 6th to 2nd, it's good, but it's not good enough for a club like Manchester United. But, it is a step in the right direction. And he talked about, this is the first step in the marathon, but they want to get to the finish line of winning the Premier League. So, looking at Manchester United's expectations going forward, I've said it before and I'll say it again, they have the talent to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
They do have the talent. And given that what's going on across the way in Manchester City, how they're running away with the Premier League, I think Liverpool is going to be a contender next year. We don't know what's going to happen with Arsenal. They're an unknown. Chelsea's going to have a new manager. I think United, if they want to win the Premier League, they're going to have to move away from this pragmatic, defensive kind of shell football. Because it does get results, but I don't think it's good enough to win the Premier League. So I think right now, United, they're going to be in, over these next couple of years, if they continue this up, they're probably going to be in a top 4 fight, because I think next season Liverpool is going to be better than them. I think Spurs could be better than them, Chelsea. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns with them.
Yeah, definitely a lot of unknowns. But yeah, Manchester United, I would say, like, it's a good time to be a Manchester United fan, because it usually is a good time to be a Man U fan, just as a whole. There's a lot of winning, but at the same time, having a coach like this is, as an Arsenal fan, I relate on a holistic level of their, just having a coach that has just lost his mind. And it's so frustrating, and you don't like that representing your team, representing you as a fan, definitely, is not necessarily the way to go in that respect. So yeah, I think that does it for this conversation on Manchester United. And so when we come back, this is actually our last show until baseball season begins. So we're going to give you guys sort of our comprehensive look at what this coming baseball season is going to look like, with a little bias here and there. We're going to be talking about some of our favorite teams in that. And so stick around. We'll be right back.
Like what you're hearing? Well, I've got news for you. You no longer have to wait a whole week to hear from your favorite sports personalities. Hi, I'm Nate Wiggins, and Ben Friedel and I have got you covered. Give our show, The Unathletic, a sports podcast, a listen. We release new episodes every Monday and are committed to bringing you the best content. That's right, the very best content.